Today it's time to investigate 5 mysterious objects from a galaxy, well actually a vendor not too far away. That's right, I'm doing 5 Star Wars kitchen gadgets to see how they really work. I'm checking them out for how they function, how they work as display pieces, and the geek factor. Let's check them out in today's video. I should point out that 4 of the 5 products in this video all came from the same vendor, a place called Uncanny Brands. As usual, I will link the description where I got all these below. One of them is actually just an Amazon vendor, although I have no association with any of the vendors in this video. So without further delay, let's get right to these 5 Star Wars kitchen gadgets. Now I'm so old, I actually remember life before Star Wars. So when I was a kid growing up in the 70s, it was Star Trek for me. No disrespect for the Star Wars franchise. I posted a poll on the Star Trek versus Star Wars debate, and the early polling looks like Star Wars is the clear favorite, but maybe Star Trek will come up from behind. This is not my first foray into the futuristic star-related gadgets. I've got this Star Trek pizza cutter, which I did a couple years ago. Unfortunately, it's rare now and the price has been gouged, but it is kind of a prized possession of mine. But I've got some Star Wars gadgets here that might be added to my collection. Let's start off with the Death Star popcorn maker. I've already cleaned it off, but I did reassemble it so you can see what the final product looks like. It's a very attractive display, even if you don't use it as a popcorn maker, it just looks really nice. But we're here to see how it works as a popcorn maker and how it displays. So let's get started and see how it works. So the lid comes off and becomes a bowl into which the popcorn is dispensed. Very nice. Inside we've got the chute and the ladle. The chute has a couple of tabs that just slide into these notches right here. Pretty darn simple. The ladle will scoop the popcorn in there and then rest just like that. And the bowl will be the receptacle for the popcorn. All right, so the first thing I'm supposed to do is put 1 ladleful into the popper. That's 1 ladleful. It says you can put butter in there and melt it while it's popping. I'm just gonna skip that for right now. I wanna focus on the popcorn itself. I believe it goes just like this. I think we're actually ready for our popcorn. I'm almost nervous about this. It's swirling. There's a good amount of heat coming off of the machine. Haven't seen any popping yet though. Should be any minute now. Oh, I got one. Oh, I got some. It's popping. Only thing that's come out is some unpopped kernels. All right, I'm feeling it. Oh wow, it just jettisoned one over there. Oh no, it went everywhere. Bailey's eating one up the floor. It's chaos in here. I get hit in the face. That might be the most chaotic bowl of popcorn I've ever, it's still going. That might be the most chaotic bowl of popcorn I've ever popped in my entire life. It was kind of fun in a sort of manic type of way. It's all over the counter here. Let me clean some of this up. Bailey even got some free popcorn out of all that. This is a Death Star popcorn, so what do you expect, right? But it actually made a decent bowl of popcorn. A lot of people were saying that half the kernels were unpopped. I didn't find that to be the case. People were saying the popcorn was flying everywhere. I did find that to be the case. It was kind of chaotic, kind of fun. Let me see how many unpopped kernels are in there. I'd say it's about 40% unpopped. It was a different experience. I've never had a popcorn experience quite like that before. I would say as a display piece, it's quite effective. As a popcorn maker, it's, I don't even know what to describe that as. It's different, interesting, Death Star-like. Needs some butter, but not bad. By the way, earlier I did test out that popcorn. I made a batch of it in this cooker. There really wasn't nearly as many kernels left in here as there was in the Star Wars cooker, so I don't think it was the popcorn that was the problem. I think it was the cooker. Next up, a Stormtrooper Toaster. All right, so I already ran this through a cycle just to make sure it burned off anything from the packing or the production. It did smoke a little bit. There really isn't much to it. You've got the cool looking Stormtrooper. It's a regular toaster. You get your lever and you've got dark side and light side. I do think that in the instructions they said to make sure that you put it on the darker end if you want the logo to show up on there. I'm gonna try light, medium, and dark and see how they look. In fact, I'm gonna try white bread and wheat bread. So let's try it out and see how it works. For my first attempt, I'm going right in the center. White wheat. I guess I see a logo on that side. I don't see anything on that side. Ooh, the wheat bread, it's It's there, I guess. Not there. That's what the box shows. I need to try to get that. Interestingly, the instructions show the Star Wars logo on there, which is not the same. All right, so I'm gonna skip the light setting. Forget it, because the medium is kind of a little bit underwhelming. So I'm gonna try the higher setting. I'm gonna put it all the way up on the dark side, and I'm gonna see if I can get that logo to look better. White wheat. We're cranking this bad boy all the way to the dark side. It's dark side or bust, baby. Hopefully this doesn't catch on fire cranking it up that high. It shouldn't. You wouldn't think they'd have a setting that's too dangerous for it. Here we go. Wait a second, why is this lighter on the dark than it was on the what? Wait a second, hold on. How is this medium and that's dark? I don't understand. I wonder if the knob is reversed. I guess I'll try it on the lighter and see if that goes dark, and we'll see. That's the lightest setting. I'm gonna kind of go right there. They said let it cool off between each session, which I've done, so I don't know why it came out lighter on the dark than it did on the medium, but we'll figure that out. That seemed to be a much more aggressive ejection than the previous ones were. Let's see. It's still pretty light. I don't even see the logo. All right, I'm gonna let this cool off for a minute, try one last time, and then I'm just gonna give up on the darkness setting. Before I had it way over here, maybe it's too far, I don't know. I'm gonna put it right there, which should still be nice and dark. I'm actually pointing at the dark setting. All right, it's been 2 minutes. One last piece, white bread. I'm going on the dark setting. I have faith in you Stormtroopers. Actually, does anybody ever have faith in Stormtroopers? This looks like the Stormtrooper that hit his head when going through the doorway. It's like the top of his head's completely lopped off. Here we go. Oh man, I have to say the Stormtroopers let me down. It's a great looking toaster, but wow, is that inconsistent. I don't know if maybe it needs to cool down more. They say 1 to 2 minutes between each use. I did at least 2 minutes between each use, so I don't know. This was my first batch, which in retrospect is actually quite impressive. This was on medium. All right, this would be the second of the two, and I put that on high and it's very unimpressive. This was on light and this was on dark, and it seems like over time it's getting worse and worse. All right, so it's been 24 hours since that original test. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try my first one on dark. Maybe for some reason it doesn't do as well with second, third, and fourth pieces of toast. I'm just gonna try it. The first one cranked all the way up and see how it goes. All right, we're going to the dark side. I wanna say I have faith in it, but I'm not really sure I do or not. But I have high hopes. I have high hopes at least. Whether it makes a great piece of toast or not is almost irrelevant because it is a very attractive display piece. I mean, it would be nice if it would make good toast, but hopefully it could make decent toast. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. You're gonna see it the same time as I do. And oh, it looks better. It's not perfect, but I would say it looks better. That's the best one yet. Now what happens if I do a second one? Because yesterday, as I got warmer and warmer on my settings, it seemed like it got lighter and lighter. I'm gonna leave the same setting, I'm gonna let it sit for a minute and try a second one and see if it's the same results. No changes to the setting, I'm not touching it. I'm just gonna leave it there and see if it changes in the results. I'm not sure how to react if it actually gives me the same results, because yesterday the results were totally inconsistent. Why would they be consistent today? I don't know. It's not as dark the second time. Look at that. Identical settings. First time, second time. On the non-logo side, first time, second time. It's just inconsistent. It doesn't heat as well after the first time. That's all it is. So if you're making one piece of toast, it's gonna work great. If you're making a batch of them, you might get worse results over time. So the mystery is solved. Stormtroopers did not come through in the clutch. I guess that's par for the course though, isn't it? All right, the next item was not originally supposed to be in this video when I did my original order. This was sent to me by mistake, so instead of sending it back, I just paid for it and figured out how to include it anyways. It's a 2-quart Star Wars slow cooker. Now when I opened the packaging, it was very small. I was surprised at how small it is. I mean, you see, I mean, just for perspective, my hand covers the entire thing. I'm used to much larger slow cookers, but this would be good for a single person or maybe 2 people, and things like dips or mashed potatoes, things that you want to keep warm. I can see that being the case for this. I'm going to make a slow cook dish in here that I've made with my slow cooker a bunch of times. Here is the design. It's a very Star Warsy. It has the typical controls on here: off, low, high, and warm. You know, there really isn't much to it. I will say when I took it apart to clean it, the outer part of the slow cooker is kind of on the cheap feeling side. It's very, very thin. But the ceramic interior actually feels like a typical heavy slow cooker, and the lid feels like a lid. So let me make sure this actually works. I'm gonna load it up and get started. 2 chicken breasts cut up, cream of chicken, cream of cheddar cheese. Put this on. I'll check it in a couple hours to make sure it's actually working properly. Now there's nothing really unusual about this, but we wanna make sure that it works because you are paying a premium because it's a Star Wars item. This small slow cooker was 30 bucks. So I'm gonna check it in a couple hours to make sure it's actually warming all the food, and then I'll come back at the end of the day when it's done and see how it turned out. I think it's been about 4.5 hours on high. It should be done now. Let's go check it out. The handle is not hot. That's a good thing. I usually use a couple forks to just break this chicken apart, and it's breaking apart quite easily, just like I would expect from a slow cooker. So that's all I can really hope for. It's nicely cooked. All right, there it is. It looks perfect. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. I'm gonna put this back on warm until we're ready to eat, but I think that it came out perfectly. So I'm pretty happy with the Star Wars slow cooker. If you're looking for a slow cooker and you're a huge Star Wars fan, this might be something for a dorm or for 1 or 2 people, or if you're looking for something to make small sauces with. Might be a bit much for 29 bucks, but for the Star Wars theme, it might be worth it. All right, next up, it is a Star Wars Darth Vader waffle maker. This should be interesting. This isn't much different than a standard waffle maker, except for the fact that it gives you a nice Darth Vader appearance to it. Now, there are reviews on Amazon for this one, not overwhelming. I've seen some not very good reviews of this one. Some say it works pretty well. A lot of people say it works slowly. I don't mind slow as long as I get the nice, beautiful Darth Vader pancake waffle. A lot of people say it's more like pancakes than waffles, so I'm not really expecting a big fluffy waffle as much as a pancake. But that's beside the point. If I can get a nice Darth Vader, I don't really care. Basic controls, you just have minimum, maximum. They should have said dark and light like the toaster. Lights for preheating, and when it's turned off, there's no on-off button. It just turns on as soon as you plug it in. I mean, really, there's not much to it, so let's get started. Step 1 is to coat both plates with oil and then close it. All right, I've got a nice light layer of oil on here. Close the plates. Step 2 is to align, I believe, that triangle. It says right in the center. Next thing we're supposed to do is plug it in, and when the green light goes off, we're ready to pour our batter in there. All right, it is plugged in. It's kind of funny, that green light actually has an orange light inside of it, so it's kind of green and orange. Well, I can feel it warming up. That's a good thing. The next step is going to be open the plates and pour 3/4 to 1 cup of batter, enough to fill the bottom plate, into the center of the bottom plate. Use a utensil to spread the batter evenly, close the lid. Cook time 3 to 4 minutes. They say between 3/4 and 1 cup, and I've got basically in between 3/4 and 1 cup. Oh, and the light just went out. And this handle is not hot, so that's good. Here we go. Am I nervous? I don't know, maybe I am. This is between 3/4 cup and 1 cup, just like the instructions call for. You gotta fill Darth Vader's head very meticulously here. That's my fault. I did that, I'll take full credit for it. So we are closing it now, here we go. When I closed it, it kind of smeared around. I didn't know I was gonna do that. Maybe I should have been more careful, I just closed it. So now we're waiting for the green light to come back on, and that tells us that it's done. I have it right on 5, so I have it right in the center, so we'll see how it turns out. They say if it's cooked to your liking to take it out, and if not, close the lid again and keep going. Uh-oh. We got a problem here. I don't like the way that looks at all. All right, the green light just went off. There's no way that's long enough. I have a bad feeling. This is the test window, right? Oh, hey, you know what? I take back everything I said. This is not good. That looks pretty good. Now it's not dark enough, but I'm happy with the shape. I expected nothing less than a complete disaster, and that's not. It's too much batter, which I guess that's just a learning curve, so 3/4 to a cup is a little bit too much. But the shape looked really nice. I was kind of happy with that. I'm impatiently waiting for this green light to come back on. Gotta be any second now, right? The flow of pancake out of the side seems to have been stemmed. All right, green light's out again. It doesn't seem like it cooked very much, does it? It's not very brown. People were saying that it takes a long time to make one. That's also a lot of batter for one. Is that really a waffle or is that a pancake? I'm not really sure. All right, rather than continue to cook this one, I'm gonna try a take 2 on this. I'm gonna put less batter and put the setting higher. Try to get it right the first time. Is it me or is it look like Darth Vader's got a big old goatee down there? Anyways, all right, so I learned some things on my first try. I'm gonna give it a second try, and I think that I'll do better the second time. It's preheating right now. It just preheated. Here we go. I also reapplied oil on there as well. I'll be much more careful about how much I put in here this time. Try to get it so it doesn't overflow. All right, something like that. This is about a 1/2 cup. Not nearly as much, it's not overflowing, it's kind of flat here. So here we go. We're ready for the big reveal. Let's see. You know, I think that's actually pretty good. I'm gonna say this looks very acceptable to me. I'll also say the non-stick surface seems pretty good on this thing. Look at that, no sticking. All right, now I need to unplug this because there's no on-off button. All right, here we go. Practice test, final version. Practice test, final version. I think it looks pretty good. I'm actually happy with it. It may have been a little bit longer than doing it the old school way, especially if you're only doing one at a time, but I don't care. I think it looks nice. I think Star Wars fans would be happy to have that served to them. So what part of Darth Vader do you eat first? Guess you go right across the scalp there. Oh, good. I'm glad I did kind of a test run first to kind of get the amount and process down, but once I did, it worked out pretty well. To me, the Star Wars Darth Vader waffle maker is a success. Next up, this is the only item I did not get from Uncanny Brands. This came off Amazon, and these are Lightsaber Chopsticks. Let's take a closer look. I paid 15 bucks for 2 pair. They are made of plastic. They're a little bit thicker than a typical chopstick. The only thing that makes them lightsaber-ish is this paper on the end, which I'm not even sure if you can wash that. And then there's no instructions about this. They had a QR code that you're supposed to scan for instructions that opened in Facebook Messenger window, so it actually did not link to instructions. There are batteries in here. Supposedly you can change them, but I haven't found the instructions how to do so just yet. As you can see, they are much larger than a typical pair of chopsticks. They're much thicker than a typical pair of chopsticks. As you can see, compared to a traditional chopstick, it's definitely longer. It is a little bit thicker. And this plastic does have a slippery feel to it as opposed to the wood that grabs onto the food better. But it's a lightsaber chopstick, so you gotta be a little forgiving, I guess. They do look really nice, but let's see how they actually work as chopsticks. It's weird because they're a little bit slippery too. These chopsticks, they feel nice. They feel normal. These feel a little bit slippery, but I guess they work. Even though they're a little bit longer and a little bit thicker than normal, even though they have terrible directions, they do look really nice. If you took off this piece of paper, there would be nothing lightsaber-ish about them though. Question then is it worth using an imperfect chopstick to get the cool lightsaber effect? I would say probably. So in the end, I would say my favorite piece as far as function goes would be the waffle maker, although they're more like pancakes than waffles, but it was pretty cool. I think if you have a Star Wars fan and you put a Darth Vader waffle in front of them, they're gonna be happy to see that. I would say the best display piece, in my opinion, would probably be the Death Star. That's kind of a cool, menacing looking popcorn maker. Even if you're not using it, it just looks really good. Maybe the geek factor would go to the lightsaber chopsticks. I mean, they're not the best chopsticks, but when you pull them out, they definitely raise eyebrows. Well, I had fun doing this one. If you've used any of these, tell me what you think in the comments below. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.